I've spent $47,000 traveling across Asia's richest nations, Singapore's 90,000 GDP per capita, Japan's precision culture, South Korea's K-wave empire that conquered the world. But a $300 trip to Malaysia left me questioning everything I thought I knew about success. And I'm not talking about some spiritual awakening or travel influencer nonsense. I'm talking about hard data that suggests the countries we call winners might be losing the one game that actually matters. Let me start with Singapore, because that's where my assumptions began crumbling. Meet David Chen, 34 years old, investment banker at a top firm, pulling in $180,000 a year, living in a spotless condo overlooking Marina Bay. On paper, David won the Asian Dream Lottery. I met him at a hawker center where $15 chicken rice somehow tasted both amazing and depressing. David told me about his panic attack. 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, heart racing, couldn't breathe. He'd been sleeping 4 hours a night for 8 months straight. I thought I was having a heart attack, he said, stirring his coffee. Turns out my body was just quitting on me. Here's what shocked me. David isn't an outlier. Singapore ranks second globally for work-life imbalance according to the OECD's 2024 report. 73% of workers report chronic stress. The city-state built the world's most efficient economy and accidentally created a pressure cooker where humans are the ingredients. David described it perfectly. Success felt like drowning in a glass box. Everyone could see me winning, but I couldn't breathe. The golden handcuffs, they call it. Can't afford to stop working. Can't afford to keep working. 91% home ownership sounds beautiful until you realize those homes cost $1.2 million for 1,000 square feet, chaining people to jobs they hate just to service the mortgage. I thought Japan would be different. I was wrong in a way I never expected. Japan gave me the most beautiful loneliness I've ever experienced. Yuki Tanaka, 29, Tokyo software engineer. She lives in a 9-square-meter apartment. That's 96 square feet, about the size of a parking space. She showed me around like it was totally normal. Foldable furniture, compact everything. Vending machine dinner from the hallway because the konbini felt too social at 11 p.m. Then she said something that stuck with me. I haven't had a real conversation in 3 months, just Slack messages and polite bowing. The numbers back up her isolation. Japan's Ministry of Health released a study in 2024 showing that 46% of people aged 20 to 40 have zero close friends. Zero. The world's most polite society has the highest social isolation rate in the developed world. And it gets darker. Kotokushi. Lonely deaths. 14,000 people die alone in Japan every year, undiscovered for weeks. Yuki knew 3 people in her apartment building who died alone. She could name them. She'd never spoken to them. Efficiency replaced humanity, she told me, at a 24-hour family restaurant. The only place open where you could sit without buying anything every 30 minutes. Every system works perfectly. Every person feels invisible. The trains run within 18 seconds of schedule. The convenience stores have 40 types of rice balls. The robots are coming to replace service workers. And humans are disappearing into pixels and politeness. Then South Korea showed me what happens when you gamify an entire society. South Korea's suicide rate, 2.5 times the global average. The moment I landed, I needed to understand why a country with K-pop, K-drama, and Korean BBQ conquering the planet was also leading the world in people choosing to leave it. Meet Ji-woo Park, 26 years old, Seoul. She's failed the civil service exam 4 times. She's $30,000 in debt from exam prep courses. She studies 14 hours a day at a 24-hour cafe that charges $3 per hour for a desk. Her parents refinanced their apartment to pay for her Hagwon, cram school, tutoring since she was 12. We don't live, Ji-woo told me at 4 a.m., mascara smudged, 3 empty coffee cups on the table. We compete to exist. The Korean Educational Development Institute released data in 2024. The average student studies 16.3 hours per day during exam season. 16.3 hours. That's not a typo. After factoring in sleep, that leaves 2 hours for eating, showering, and pretending to be human. South Korea ranks 13th globally in GDP, 52nd in happiness, according to the 2024 World Happiness Report. Think about that. They built one of the richest economies on Earth, and people are miserable enough to rank below countries with a fraction of their wealth. Ji-woo said, "Imagine measuring your worth by a single test score from age 5 to 25, then realizing the ladder you climbed leads nowhere. That's Korea. Plastic surgery rates, highest in the world per capita. Millions spent on resume building, before you even enter the workforce. Birth rate, 0.72 children per woman, the lowest on planet Earth. The country is literally disappearing because people can't afford to have kids emotionally, financially, or temporally. By day 6 of my Asia tour, I was exhausted by other people's exhaustion. Then my train crossed into Malaysia. The air changed. Not literally, though Penang's humidity hit different. The energy loosened. I don't know how else to describe it. I expected chaos. I expected corruption headlines and developing nation problems. I expected to feel like I downgraded from business class to economy. Instead, I met Ahmad, 38 years old. Quit a $70,000 a year job in Singapore to take a $35,000 position in Kuala Lumpur. When I asked him why, he laughed. I doubled my life quality while having my salary. Here's his math. His Singapore studio apartment cost $3,200 per month. His KL 3-bedroom condo with a pool costs $800. He was working until 9 p.m. in Singapore, missing his kids' bedtimes. Now he finishes at 5:30, coaches their soccer team, and cooks dinner 4 nights a week. Time is money, Ahmad said. But nobody tells you money can't buy time back. The cost of living difference isn't just housing. A clinic visit in Malaysia, $8. An MRI scan, $200. In Singapore, that same MRI is $1,500 with insurance. Quality international schools for Ahmad's kids, $400 per month. In Singapore, he was paying $2,000 and still on a wait list. But it wasn't just the money, it was the space. At midnight, I ended up at a mamak stall, an outdoor food court. The auntie serving roti canai spent 10 minutes asking about my family, my travels, why I looked tired. She gave me extra curry. She'd never see me again. She didn't care. She just cared. In Singapore, every minute had ROI. In Tokyo, every interaction had rules. In Seoul, every conversation felt like networking. In Kuala Lumpur, strangers became friends over Teh Tarik at 2 a.m. because nobody was optimizing their time. The Malaysian Mental Health Association released data in 2024. Work stress levels are 34% lower than Singapore's and 41% lower than South Korea's. Malaysia's inefficiency accidentally created buffer zones for being human. Traffic jams became radio sing-along time. Slow service meant actual conversations with the barista who remembered your order. Flexible schedules meant showing up to your kid's school play at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. But here's what economists are starting to notice, and it's terrifying for the tiger economies. 2 million Malaysians live abroad. But in 2023 to 2024, 67,000 returned home, the highest reverse migration rate in 15 years, according to the Malaysian Ministry of Human Resources. These aren't failures coming back. These are bankers, engineers, doctors who won abroad and chose to lose by coming home. Sarah Lim, 31, returned from London after 8 years. I was making $65,000 starters, but saving nothing. Rent ate half. Transport ate another chunk. I had a career. I didn't have a life. Now she makes RM 180,000, about 38,000 USD. She bought a house in 2 years. She sees her nieces grow up. She has friends she didn't meet through work. I thought I was settling, Sarah said, but I was actually arriving. Here's the pattern nobody's talking about. Malaysia's middling economy accidentally created something the winners lost. Affordable healthcare, educational access, entrepreneurial space. Low overhead means risk-taking doesn't mean bankruptcy. The World Bank's 2024 Livability Index ranked Malaysia 3rd in Asia for life satisfaction per dollar earned. But there's a darker pattern emerging that nobody's talking about. What if Singapore, Japan, and South Korea aren't the future? They're the cautionary tale. South Korea's birth rate, 0.72. At that rate, the population collapses by 2100. Japan's demographic crisis, 29% of the population is over 65. The workforce is shrinking by 500,000 people every single year. Singapore's fertility rate, 1.04, below replacement, despite the government throwing $70,000 in baby bonuses at couples. These nations optimized for economic output. They accidentally optimized humans out of existence. Malaysia's birth rate, 1.8, still below replacement, but declining slower. And here's the thing. Maybe traffic jams preserve sanity. Maybe wasted time with neighbors prevents loneliness. Maybe inefficiency is just being human. Dr. Lim Wei Ling, behavioral economist at the University of Malaya, told me, "We confuse GDP growth with societal health. Malaysia's slower growth might be the only sustainable model long-term. Countries that left space for inefficiency left space for life. On my last night in Kuala Lumpur, I sat in a hawker center until 2 a.m. Not because the food was amazing, though it was, but because I realized I'd forgotten what it felt like to linger. No agenda, no productivity metric, just existing in a plastic chair, watching strangers laugh over tiger beer and char kway teow. In Singapore, every minute had ROI. In Tokyo, every interaction had unspoken rules. In Seoul, every conversation was a potential connection. In KL, that auntie spent 10 minutes asking about my life while ladling extra curry. She'd never see me again. She didn't care, she just cared. We've been asking the wrong question, not which country is most successful, but what is success optimizing for? 3 models emerged. The Singapore model, maximum efficiency equals maximum pressure. You'll be rich and exhausted. The Japan-Korea model, cultural excellence equals social isolation. You'll be globally admired and personally invisible. The Malaysia model, moderate growth equals moderate humanity. You'll be comfortable and present. I'm not saying Malaysia is perfect. Corruption exists. Infrastructure has gaps. Traffic can be maddening. But they accidentally preserve something the winners lost. The ability to just be. You don't have to move to Malaysia, but you can steal their accidental wisdom. Ask yourself, what wastes your time but preserves your sanity? Long dinners, meandering walks, unstructured weekends where you do absolutely nothing productive. What if those aren't wastes? Calculate your earnings per life hour, not just per work hour. David, the Singapore banker I mentioned, now works 4-day weeks. He took a 20% pay cut. He's sleeping 7 hours a night. He saw his daughter's first steps instead of a Zoom recording. Yuki, the Tokyo engineer drowning in 9 square meters, joined a community garden. First non-work friends in 3 years. She grows tomatoes now. Badly, she says. But she grows them. Ji-woo, the sole student crushed by exams, dropped the civil service test. She teaches English now, earns less, sleeps more. She described it as waking up from a 15-year nightmare. They didn't escape their countries. They imported Malaysia's accidental philosophy. Good enough is actually enough. Here's what I need you to answer honestly. In the comments, no judgment. If you could take a 30% pay cut to get 50% more time with people you love, would you? Or does that sound insane because we've been conditioned to think time without productivity is time wasted? And here's the follow-up that scares me. What if the countries we call developing are actually developing the one thing the developed world lost? The ability to just be human. I'm making a part 2 about the Malaysians who didn't return, the ones who stayed in Singapore and Tokyo. Their answers shocked me even more. Should I post it? Tell me below. If this messed with your assumptions like it did mine, share it with someone optimizing their life into oblivion. They might need permission to slow down.